oh, well, these religious people, they just believe in, Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam flying on a winged horse and all this other stuff. What nonsense. Ha ha ha. Some people reject religion and faith out of hand because they jump right to the minute details, right? They say, well, I can't believe in a winged horse, right? I can't believe in these miracles that the moon was split and things like that. And even people who are, relatively intelligent and have some understanding of science and even might be a little bit critical of scientism itself. But you have to realize that even if you were to apply the scientific method to these sorts of inquiries, you don't start with your conclusions, right? It's like the whole point is that you can't believe X does not necessitate that X is false, right? Like that's the reason why you would subject it to rational inquiry in the first place. So, if I'm going to do a science experiment, I wouldn't start based off the assumption that, well, I can't believe that I'm going to get this result, so I'm just not even going to allow for the possibility. No, we'd have to say, well, what type of experiment can we construct basically to prove whether this thing is possible or not? And then you do the experiment, you follow the process, and you follow what the evidence tells you, right? You have that discussion of what evidence is and what isn't valid or admissible or conclusive evidence, and then you follow the evidence. You don't start with your conclusion, right? That's not research, right? That's bias, that's prejudice. And so somebody comes to religion and faith and they say, well, I can't believe that, there's rocks that speak or that, all this sort of stuff. Yeah, well, okay. You've just stated your conclusion, but have you actually gone through the process? Have you ever even thought about what evidence would look like for the phenomenon of revelation, for the phenomenon of prophets in the first place? Right? And once you get into that discussion, now it's, okay, what would it look like? What type of evidence would we believe in or would be convincing or conclusive or even probabilistic, right? To demonstrate that revelation or even just take the unseen in and of itself is a possibility, right? And one of the strongest sort of things to consider with this is just the fact that, naturalism as a philosophical position cannot explain everything that we have in this world, right? Everybody who has studied a little bit, they understand that philosophical naturalism says that everything that exists can be explained by a physical mechanism. Everything that exists is limited to the natural world. Okay, well, what about consciousness? Well, what is consciousness? Is consciousness just the firing of neurons in the brain? We don't know. We have no idea. We can't figure out consciousness. And there's other things as well. So these are the things. If you want to be serious about it, right? You want to be rational about it. You want to be reasonable about it. You have to go through the process. You don't just jump to the conclusion. And if you have the conversation first, what would evidence look like? And then you actually go through, okay, well, this is what this evidence, that would perhaps demonstrate that there might be something like the unseen, something beyond the natural world. And then once you go through demonstrating whether the unseen is a possibility or a reality or not, then going to, okay, a creator. Is it a possibility or not? And then once you've gone through, okay, creator, yes or no, what type of creator? A perfect creator, an imperfect creator, a creator who can become incarnate in the universe, a creator that's removed, that's physically kind of separate from the universe, right? And then once you go through what type of creator, okay, well, do the qualities of this creator necessitate some sort of communication? Is there communication from the creator to the creation? And what would that look like? And how could we tell? How could we tell? Because there's a lot of people who claim that they have communication from the divine. Okay, well, how can we develop a process or sort of like a litmus test to figure out what actually is or could be communication from the divine or not, right? So this is what it looks like to be serious, right? And if you come into it and just say, well, oh, well, these religious people, they just believe in, Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam flying on a winged horse and all this other stuff. What nonsense, ha ha ha. And that's arrogance. That's just arrogance, and it's not being reasonable and it's not being rational. In fact, it's the failure to use the rational tools that God gave you.